Well, I'm from UC Davis, unlike many of my university colleagues who are also attending this conference. I'm not coming from an academic department, but from the university library where I work in online strategy. And here's my team. I arrived at the library 2 years ago, and we were charged with creating new opportunities for online engagement with students, faculty, and with the outside public. As we looked for areas of focus, we discovered that the university had what wine writer Hugh Johnson had proclaimed to be the best wine library in the world. And so for those of us working online, we wondered if there was a possibility to do something complementary online. So today I'm going to describe a little bit of what we've done. And I'll jump right in. So for our first effort, we utilized a collection of former UC Davis faculty member Maynard Amarine here, hired by the library by the university rather, in 1935. And Maynard is considered to be a pivotal force in helping to revive the wine industry in California following the devastating effects of Prohibition. And so in addition to teaching UC Davis students, Maynard spent a chunk of time traveling around the state of California, educating winemakers, and luckily for us, he also happened to be a consummate collector. And he had in his papers in the library a collection of over 5,000 wine labels. And so they were preserved like this in Amarine's original black binders, which he had annotated. This one, he doesn't know the vintage. He was a very tough grader. So most things were B's or C's, very few A's. And this collection became our first hook into explicating wine online. And we wanted to create some kind of a searchable database, but because OCR, optical character recognition, was a little bit difficult due to text inconsistencies, we launched a crowdsourcing application in July 2016, a project that allowed users to help us create a database by asking them to crowdsource the transcription of wine labels. This project is live, and we're actually preparing to go into our second development phase with it. So our vision had always been to include complementary materials into the corpus, and so it was back into the archives we went, and we found a trove of Sherry Lehman catalogs in the collection of 2 wine writers. So founded in 1934, Sherry Lehman had been selling wine in New York for about 82 years, or has been selling wine, sorry, they currently still are. They would not appreciate me saying that, for 82 years. And the bulk of the library's catalog run is from 1955 through 1970. And we don't have a complete run, but we have about 3,700 pages in 205 catalogs. So it felt like it was enough volume to give us a start. And they also happened to be visually engaging enough that we thought we could garner some genuine interest. And the fact that it has articles by food luminaries such as James Beard was just sort of icing on the proverbial cake. What was more interesting, the reason I'm here today, was the wine pricing data that we saw. An opportunity to bring to life this historic wine pricing. So utilizing the catalogs as proof of concept, we wanted to create a tool that would allow for historians to hopefully map changing palettes, as well as to create new points of access into this data. Here's our start. And so for the past several decades, the catalogs have been housed at UC Davis Library, where they remain sort of relatively unexplored and underutilized. It's difficult to do very much searching with paper documents. So step 1, making digital, which you can see we did. And then even after running the digital files through OCR, like we had done with the labels, we're still only left with the ability to do a rough keyword search, Pinot Noir, Champagne. But our goal was to move the data from these historic documents into a database of prices. So the question was how do we turn these historic documents into a spreadsheet that we can then query, basically. And once again, we have page layout, the transcription inconsistencies. It made price extraction even more difficult here with the catalogs than it was with the labels. So we simultaneously have pursued two paths forward. Step one was to create a platform that allowed users, which is what you're seeing here, to help us, as with the labels, crowdsource the transcription. So we ask users to click on this icon here. They point to a price. This little modal pops up. And we ask users to transcribe for us. And then one of the questions I have for you today actually is what you think about the data points that we're collecting here. So this was like a lot of arguing and discussion went into these. We also created, there are spirits, so you toggle here, and then we have a separate modal for spirits. Okay, so the crowdsourcing path for the pricing data is a bit more labor intensive than it was for the labels. As you can see here, it quite easily can take 40 minutes to do a single page. So that brings us to our second path, and this is one that utilizes methods of computer processing to improve the data collection, and this was led by Online Strategies application manager, Quinn Hart. And he worked with a team of computer science students at Davis, this was their senior design project, and they incorporated regular expression pattern matching with computer recognized text to relate the wine name with the price. And again, what's difficult is just creating a database where this is associated with that. And so that's what their project did. They developed an algorithm that would search a page of text looking for multiple patterns that could match various entries in the catalog. These results, we're still working on this part, are presented to the user, who then corrects errors, adds additional information, which sort of improves the learning power of the system. So it's using a little bit of AI technology. So in the longer term, we're hoping that the direct crowdsourcing data, the data derived from these computer-aided applications, will help us develop a training set that's large enough to apply new techniques, so using artificial intelligence techniques to help us better discover patterns within the documents. And then, addition, we're actively working to expand the data set, and so that's another reason that I'm here today presenting to you. We are looking for ways to increase what we have, and so this is a menu from Maynard back to Maynard Amarine's collection. So we've included any menus that have numbers on them, basically. We're trying to include that into the database. And then we've also been playing with, this is probably about 2 weeks old or less, so we've been playing with a search interface for our existing tabular data. And our larger goal is to allow users to query the database by region, type, vintage, year sold, bottle size, and then ultimately create a tool which enables industry professionals, perhaps, to answer questions like, from what countries or states in the world is wine coming from in different years, where's the most expensive least. You would probably actually have more questions than I was, so I won't go into them. But we're a few steps away, but it was exciting for all of us at Davis that yesterday in this room, Paul Merton, his talk was constructed using these catalogs, and we hope that this tool will allow for more of that kind of work. And then finally, our goal is to move past the crowdsourcing applications into more interface and visualization design. And then I've had some flyers, some of them are on your seat or around that. So you have the URL, and I'd love feedback on For example, as I said, when you look at the modal, are we missing data points? And then in addition, if you happen to be sitting somewhere on a trove of retail catalogs, I would love to know, because we would love to add that in. So we don't need the physical copies, obviously, just the digital. So thank you so much. And 10 minutes, I'm ready for questions.